Coming to authentication, I hope that you can see a subtle difference between security, access, and authentication. So when we talk about authentication, what is the main purpose and what is this trying to refer to? It is trying to refer to identifying whether a personnel is a rightful user or not. All right, this is just to check the identification. So authentication can only authenticate through some of these things, all right? But does that really help to reveal the true identity? Okay, I would like you to pause here for a while and think through. When you use user ID and password for any account that you have, do you think the server is recognizing you as a person? Are they just recognizing the pair of info, which is the ID and password? Okay, this question is crucial because it is important for you, all right, as part of equipment development that requires it to be secure. You must understand that when we use a pair of info like user ID and password, your system is only recognizing this pair, right? It is not recognizing the operator nor yourself as the user to the machine. For example, all right, for example, if I'm the bad guy, I have willfully stolen or somehow gotten your ID and password. If I were to use this pair to log in into your account, then the system will see it as a rightful access because I have the correct pair of information. But you know that I am not the correct person and shouldn't have access, and therefore authentication is only at the data level, right? Here, the data refers to your info or credential that is used to go in. Similarly, the use of token, some of you use a token generator to help log in into your bank account. Even the token can be stolen, and when the wrongful user use your token generator and sign in, the system will still allow them to go in, right? Likewise, even two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, there are still flaws, but how well we protect them, this is really about our own habits. Therefore, like I shared earlier on, some of these things you really have to lock and secure to prevent them from happening or being placed together at the same place. I often quote this example to all my students that my parents, sometimes they are old already and they cannot remember password, and they often have password placed within their wallet, the password to their ATM card in their same wallet also, and plus sometimes they even write this password is for which card. Then you are asking for trouble. All right, so be careful when we talk about authentication. The system recognize sets of data and not the user. Therefore, any of these confidential data should be placed separately, locked and secure, right? I quite like this picture that shows about authentication. Probably some of you will relate this picture as the iris of our eyes. And of course, there has been study that everybody's eye, just like a fingerprint, are unique and they can be used as a biometric for security. But I think it can also spur different form of terror, as some of you, I don't know how many of you follow news for those biometric locks. When bad guys try to steal some of these things, they have to steal this authenticator also, right? Be it your fingerprint, all right, getting your finger out so that they can carry as a key, or even the iris, right? So when it comes to security, I think it is really a balance between ease of use and also having sufficient security, right? You don't want to tighten your security, making it so difficult to use, or to make it so easy to use that there's no security, right? So these two, there must be a balance. And for nowadays, like myself, I don't even remember password anymore. Whenever I need, I just click on the forget password, go back to my central email that has been used to register for the account, and then rekey in and gain access, especially for accounts that I seldom use, right? Therefore, it is really depending on your use case. I'm not suggesting that you should follow what I'm doing, because there are other means of retrieving your password, like the use of Q&A, and some of it you realize a lot of people fall prey to some of these things is because we have been unknowingly sharing personal data so openly that some of these Q&A become self-defeating. For example, probably you would have seen in the past, while you set up an account, they ask you for a backup questionnaire to help you retrieve password, like putting in questions where for example, what is your name of your primary school that you have attended, which town you were from, and so on. Just imagine if you have your social media open to the public, anyone who like to tap or get into your social network, all right, or to hack into your account, they can then skim through all those sharing that you have in your social media to know you inside out, right? To know about your past, to know about your education, and so on and so forth. Therefore, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, all right? On one hand, it helps us retrieve password, but when the question become too easily to be identifiable, then that security may not be useful at all. All right. So if you look at all this, right, I would say that they have only limited protection. So protection is not 100%, and you have to be mindful what are the shortcomings of each of them and how you can then come up with your own means to better protect your properties and your information. Additional informations, right? Here, I think it is important for you, especially youngster like you, having credit cards or having to have credit card for the first time. It is important to set up some of the security, like having bank notification, setting certain threshold. What is your risk appetite? If you feel that even for $1 illegal transaction that you are already very mindful, set your limit, all right, so that every dollar that has been transacted will inform you. Then you will be getting those notifications at your handphone or your mobile phone. The other thing is really to track your usage, right? Make it a habit, every week, all right? If not, every now and then check on what are the usage on your cards. If not, during the monthly billing cycle, during that billing cycle, check your transactions, especially looking for any suspicious activity. If not, again, it can be quite bad, where you notice it at a later time. Then when you want to file for any fraudulent of usage, it might be too late. I won't say that you should rely on banks to help you in detecting, but bank has been also doing their part, all right, to identify some of these fraudulent cases and block some of these transactions before you even notice. Okay, so do take note on this. Now, those are general things about security, right? Some of you will probably know a good handful of these techniques and tips already, right? But when it comes to doing or working or dealing with machine, designing your IoT system, because this topic is brought in so late, I didn't want to put inside your project work. But hopefully through this sharing in this Zoom recording, you can then start thinking about how you can protect when you send data over the internet. All right. Now, having those general idea why data can get stolen, what are the different things that around us in modern society that we want to look at what is encryption. All right. We want to look at what is encryption. And I thought doing an exercise would help you better grasp this concept. And therefore, let's us first get a few terms gone through so that you know what they mean. So when we talk about encryption, this is quite an interesting name that we have been hearing. But in short, there can be also the term called encoding, right? Transferring one particular code to another code so that it's represented in a different way. This is what we are talking about when we talk about encryption. So why do we have it? It is really to act as a layer of hindrance or obstacle so that the bad guy cannot get hold or grab hold of those confidential data so easily. Okay, and in encryption, sometimes they use cipher, CIPHER, as another word to represent encryption. All right, so there are block cipher. Block cipher means you get a block of data and you do encoding or encryption at one time. All right, so you have packets and doing encryption at a time, where there is another alternative that is stream cipher. Stream cipher means you encrypt as every bit of data comes in. Remember when we talk about serial communication is like streaming of data, sending one bit at a time. So you can also do encryption as data comes in. All right, so this is stream cipher. Later, we will do a live demo. All right, I hope that those who are with me, you can also run this example with me so that you can see encryption in action and how is it like. But since all of us are not expert in encryption, we will use a simple one, which is called the Caesar cipher. All right, Caesar is one of the great warlord, and we are going to use this particular encryption method and see how we can do and encode and decode data. There are more advanced methods. So in the demonstration, I'll also share about whether we can enhance any of these encryption methods that we are coming out with. All right, so there are encryption with key and so on. Right, there are other means like using lookup table. Some of you may have played with puzzles before, how you unscramble data. And I chance upon some interesting encryption games that you can download onto your handphone to play with if you are bored, all right, trying to kill some time after the exam, you can download some of this. So coming up with a different encryption method, all right, whether performing a double shift, is it going to help you, right, mixing with table and so on. There are different ways, but okay, I use the word but now. For traditional encryption method, I will call this traditional, it is often not foolproof, right? Which means there are, they can break down, and one of the method is called brute force. All right, what's the meaning of brute force? Now I'm going to explain. For example, this padlock, right? For example, this padlock. If we know that this padlock has only 4 combination code, all right, which means you need to trigger four starts. And can anyone tell me how many combinations you need to do or need to have in order to break this code? How many combination to break this padlock, this number lock? Let me get my pen. Okay, it's a 4-digit lock. Okay, 10K. Okay, it's a good try. It's less than 10K, right? It's less than 10K. So there are 4 digital lock. For those who have learned permutation, we know that we need to guess the first button. So how many buttons are there for us to make the first guess? There are 10, right? There are 10. And then after you have selected one, how many is left? 9, 8, and 7. All right, so this will give you the number. If you use a calculator and calculate this, 10 times 9 times 8 times 7, this will give you the full combination of all the unique 4-digit code you can have for this particular lock that I'm highlighting here. All right, so this is less than 10K. But if we are looking at this lock, this number lock, yes, then you are right that this is a 10K lock. All right, because there are 10 combination, and therefore, what I'm trying to share here with you is that depending on the lock type, all right, when I talk about brute force, we are going to test all the combination, just like 4D. Yeah, if you want to buy 4D, as your friend has suggested in the group chat, buy all the number, definitely you will strike. But what is your winning in returns? Of course, whoever set up the 4D, they have do the calculation. If you use brute force, you will still be losing because the amount of money spent to buy all the numbers versus the price money that you receive from all the correct load. How do I put it? The price money that you collect from all the winnings will not be more than what you pay for brute force. Okay. So back to the concept. All right. Later, I'll also show you how can we use brute force to break Caesar cipher. All right. So these are the 3 things. I'll introduce Caesar cipher, sharing with you how we can do a double shift, and then finally, how can we break the code. Okay.